This is another haul video. It's also the debut of the 4th camera tripod that I'm using. I was considering including that in the video as part of the haul, but I didn't. As many of you know, by which I mean one of you, who has been requesting a video on the 90s series called Yeah, that is a running gag. I recorded a whole song just for that. I really intend to get the most worth out of it. Whenever I say the character's name or the book's name, I just cut it out. I already have the first 5 issues. There is a 0 issue. And I had ordered the other 30 issues to review. Issues 5 to 22. And then 1 to 12 of the second series. It is a mess from what I have heard. They keep retconning his originy and changing his backstory and everything. It sounds like a proper car crash. But then the comics never came, and after 2 months of waiting, I finally got a refund. But I got a refund at like 1 AM, which is the worst time to get a refund, because you think you're going to have to spend it again right away or it doesn't count. So like a drunk man, I wasted it on some comics I probably didn't even want. First up, we have got some single issues. We've got Death Metal. I realise you're not actually hearing it. You know how I say the wrong names? Well, I'm saying death like in the ears. This is Death Metal Andy book or something, and this is a collection of short stories. On closer inspection, it appears they both are that. This one is just named like it is an Andy book. I'm hoping we get a story about the Justice Society of Superheroes or the Flask, the Willie West version. I'm guessing we will get, probably in this one, the story of Harley Quinn and how she's suddenly like best friends with the heroes without any acknowledgement in the main series. Spoilers for the review I have already done for tomorrow, but you haven't seen yet. And these aren't shiny covers. I didn't like shiny covers, but this still annoys me because it isn't uniform with the rest of the event. We also have some questionable quote talent, end quote. But at least sexual coercer and skeevy pervo Warren Fallis doesn't get to write a story about a dinosaur Batman. I generally like Van Morrison. His Excellent Men work is probably my favourite of all his stuff. You know how I was in hospital for ages because I had a hole in my esophagus? Well, that started to rear up again. I've had heartburn for about 36 hours now, and that's not normal, is it? I could barely get out a sentence without struggling to breathe. I should probably call a doctor or something. Anyway, for various reasons, I never bothered with this current Green Lanterns. Well, now I've got nearly all of it. I remember eyeing issue 1 up in the shop when it came out. I think it was the same week as Batman Who Does a Laugh #1. And I decided not to bother with it for 3 reasons. Also, the artist is called Liam, which, as I've said before, is probably the best name anyone can have. Firstly, my appreciation of Van Morrison has very much waned. I'll probably talk more about that when I review one of these. Secondly, I didn't like the modern Green Lantern stuff with all these different colours. And what I didn't realise was that Morrison set out to ignore that stuff and just do art school Green Lantern stories. And third and finally, by the way, most of the comics in this all I haven't bothered taking out of their bags. And third and finally, Jordan Albert is the lead, and I didn't like this character. The only time I have ever liked the character or found him interesting was when he went evil. I have got issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, and this issue annoyed me when it came out because they made a huge deal about how Jordan Albert is fighting God. Issue 4, issue 5, issue 6, 6 with Stephen Strange before Tom Queen started probably ruining him. Issue 7, Issue 8, the inevitable team up with Ara, Issue 9, 10, 11, and Issue 12. And then I have also got the annual, as well as the 3-issue Dark Stars miniseries. He also threw in the variant covers to Issue 5 and Issue 6. Didn't really care. And then we have Season 2, which was a trick way of relaunching the series with the same creative team. I have Issue 1, Issue 2, Issue 4, guest star in The Flask, the Barney Allen version. Issue 5, which that fake geek girl, Diversity in a Comic Book, said was crap, so it is probably good. And then Issue 6. And now these are all in reverse order. I Am Missing, Season 2, Issue 3. I think, much like Terrificals number 26, that came out just on the advent of the COVID-19 lockdown. And those issues, our here, it is impossible to find them. I don't know, I think there was a week or two when maybe DC Comics just didn't ship over here. It has been impossible to find Terrificals 26. I've been trying for months. And I couldn't find Green Lantern Season 2, number 3 at 1 a.m. in the morning either. Do you remember a few months ago when I bought the Chinese Superman and I still haven't read it? Well, here is some more cringy stuff I probably should not have bought blind. This is Far Sector, issues 1 through to 7, which is one of them new Animals books, and it stars a progressive black girl lesbian Green Lanterns in a YA-style adventure or something like that. I do have hopes for this, he said naively. I am not against diverse characters or young adult storytelling styles being brought into comics if it can be done well. This was the new Animals book that I accidentally bought another one thinking it was. This does the same thing that Van Morrison's book does, which is to largely ignore all that baggage of the last 15 years where there are blue lanterns and red lanterns, and that's fine with me. Some of these covers are fucking embarrassing though. I am struggling to get through this video, so you better fucking click like. Justice League, some more Electric Superman alls I had to fill, and some more Van Morrison. It's become a very Van Morrison heavy all. This is Justice League 6, 7, 8 and 9. These issues introduce the Archangel character, who Van Morrison originally intended to be his rendition of Stephen Hawkman. But DC decided that Stephen Hawkman was already complicated enough without yet another reinvention of the character being introduced. I am very thankful that Electric Superman, he was done with by the time we get to the Martin Quaid fill-in issues. And then after this, I also have Justice League Parasites Lost, issue 1, 2 and 3. This is a mini-series that takes place in between Justice League 9 and Justice League 10. It is written by Matt Miller and it has art by Aero Oliver Ritchie. Look, there is Electric Superman on the cover. I have not read this, but always have been really interested. Matt Miller is obviously a writer that is close friends with Van Morrison, so him writing a story that is concurrent with Morrison's work on these characters, it does feel legit and like it probably should be counted alongside that stuff. He also wrote a fill-in issue during that run, the one with Super Adaptoid. I reviewed it, quite good. And Aero Oliver Ritchie is a great artist. Justice Society of Superheroes 34 and 35. This is a start of a run by Bills without them, because he is without bills, like dollar bills, because Stephanie Cook nicked all his dollar bills. Yeah, it's very tedious. I'll just gan with Bill Swindletown. He and Lady Sturgis, they came aboard this book. It is the same one that I have criticised for having too many members, and they solved that by splitting the team into 2 books. Can it say I'm thrilled with the team lineup from these covers? Judo Woman is there and she is rubbish. And Spirit of 76 is a pointless character. Good that they brought Dr. Fates back though. And these covers obviously combine, which I'll show off much better when I review them. Hopefully less embarrassing than False Sector, I hope anyway, is Rayman issues 1 to 6. This is a mini-series from what I want to say is 1991. Feel free to comment down below saying that it's 1992. This is a series that introduces, or rather revamps, the Rayman character. This is a character that I have always been up for reading more about. He's in a lot of the Justice League stuff I have. He is in the Stan Jurgensen run. He was briefly in the Van Morrison run. He pops up a lot in the big crossovers like 0 Hours, Christmas in Time. Stir Fry Squadron, he was in that as well. He has always been a character that I've wanted to check out, and then I read a one-shot with him from DC Reborn, and it was disgusting.
This is in the past, and it is the worst comic I have read today, and I rate it 7 thumbs up.
The thing that annoyed me the most about it wasn't that they did the Snowman retcon, where they reveal that this character is gay and always has been gay, and if you didn't agree he has always been gay, then you are a homophobe. Well, that does annoy us as well. I have no problem if you want to naturally have a character like Rayman or Snowman come out of the closet. It's this bullshit where that is not good enough. They need to retroactively change it so that the character has always been gay, and overturn and contradict these hard stories where Snowman was clearly in love with Miss Magnets or whatever. Have characters realise that they are gay. Didn't make it so that they have always been gay and just haven't said anything, and all their past appearances now look like those of an insidious, emotional, manipulating liar. I wasn't even going to talk about that gay thing, but I got distracted. I hated that other comic because it had a fairly intriguing idea. That Rayman, he was locked in a basement for years by his mother, but that wasn't what that story was about. The story was about how gay and fabulous he is, and the basement was probably meant to be a metaphor for the closet or something. Just thinking about how trite and pathetic that story was is getting us angry, and making it so that I didn't want to read this. And by the way, from what I understand and what I have heard, he has a girlfriend in this. Superboy #1, this is from his series just before the New 52. Or as I don't call it, the New 50 Poo. I didn't call it that, and I won't start. It's not very clever. I had one issue of this series, I think I reviewed it, the one where he gets his arse kicked by Doomsday Man, and I quite liked it, but that issue was obviously somewhat lacking in the character department. There was a nice bit at the start with Robert though, but it was mostly all fighting. I have wanted to check this series out and to really sell it for me. Apparently Sexy Ivy is in like the first story and she possibly rapes Superboy, which I am okay with. And here is the only Marvel comic. It's almost like a pity pull really. This is Swordman. It is a one-shot tie-in into that lame duck current crossover. I find it hilarious that Marvel are so desperate for ideas, they are at the point where they are telling a 40-part crossover event, spinning out of awful Steve Engeltine stories about fucking Willow. I did swear off Marvel, but I made an exception for this, and I'll probably make an exception for at least the first issue of the upcoming Us Agent miniseries. I wanted to check this out because the writer, who I have never heard of before, I saw an interview with him and he was honestly saying everything I want a writer to say. I'll pop it up on the screen now in edit. Something about how he read all the characters' past appearances and loads of related stuff, and how reading that painted a clear picture of where he was going with the story. That is brilliant. That is a writer. That is a proper writer. He's not writing this one shot just as a paycheck. He's not writing it just for the vanity. He is approaching writing it with respect, interest and enthusiasm for what has come before. I really hope this is good. It would be a shame if he was so great at selling a comic on himself and then writes proper trash. Comics! Which ones do you want us to look at first? Comment down below and like and share and subscribe and procreate. And don't forget to rate this video 7 thumbs up. I'm gonna lie down and maybe die now.